Egypt, a land of myths and legends, ancient civilizations, and the pyramids of Giza. Egypt is an exciting country to visit with some of the most fascinating historical places on the planet. There is so much more to Egypt than just the pyramids, and you'll see why as we go through these most interesting facts about Egypt. These Egypt facts will help you understand the history of the ancient Egyptians and the background of some of the country's most popular attractions. 1. Egypt is home to the only remaining ancient wonder in the world. The only remaining monument of the 7 ancient wonders of the world is still standing in Egypt. Only the Great Pyramid of Giza, in El Giza, Egypt has stood the test of time. The pyramids of Giza are located in the capital city of Cairo and are as awe-inspiring as they always have been. The Great Pyramid of Khufu is the largest of all the pyramids, and it was built to house the pharaoh Khufu in the 4th century. Today is known as the Pyramid of Cheops. The Pyramid of Khufu is massive, standing at a height of 146.7 meters, 481 feet. 2. The pyramids were not built by slaves. Contrary to what a lot of people might think, the pyramids were not built by slaves. They were in fact built by proper laborers. Archaeological discoveries prove that there were purpose-built villages to house the workers, and they were fed and treated well. These ancient construction workers were a mix of skilled artisans and temporary hands, and some appear to have taken great pride in their craft. 3. Ancient Egyptians and the afterlife. The pyramids are that they were built to house the rulers of ancient Egypt and ferry them and their families into the afterlife. The pyramids were made as tombs for the pharaohs and their families. Ancient Egyptians believed that they had to follow strict rules to have a good afterlife. They also believed that it was up to the living to help them get to the afterlife. Great care was taken in the mummification process because the ancient Egyptians believed that the body needed to be preserved to be reborn and be ferried to the afterlife. 4. Many gods of ancient Egypt. It was tough navigating life as an ancient Egyptian. They had many gods to please. They worshipped hundreds of gods and goddesses and had to constantly work to make them all happy, to keep their life in balance and to ensure their place in the afterlife. Over the years, gods fell in and out of fashion just as our celebrities do today. Some of the most enduring gods were Isis, Osiris, and Ra, the sun god. 5. Ancient Egyptians loved board games. We actually have a lot in common with the ancient Egyptians, and one of the more fun facts about ancient Egyptians is that they too loved board games. Several different games were played, including Mehen and Dogs and Jackals, but perhaps the most popular was a game of chance known as Senet. This pastime dates back as far as 3500 BC and was played on a long board painted with 30 squares. Each player had a set of pieces that were moved along the board according to rolls of dice or the throwing sticks. Senet was so popular that even pharaohs were buried with the game to keep them occupied in the afterlife. 6. Cleopatra was not Egyptian. Another interesting fact about Egypt is that Cleopatra, one of the most famous figures from ancient Egypt, is actually Greek, not Egyptian. While she was born in Alexandria, she had no Egyptian blood and was instead a descendant of the Ptolemaic dynasty, which were a line of Greek Macedonians. The Ptolemaic dynasty ruled ancient Egypt from 323 to 30 BC. The name Cleopatra is actually Greek for famous in her father or her father's fame. 7. Egyptians of both sexes wore makeup. Both men and women were known to wear copious amounts of makeup, which they believed gave them the protection of the gods Horus and Ra. These cosmetics were made by grinding ores like malachite and galena into a substance called kohl. It was then liberally applied around the eyes with utensils made out of wood, bone, and ivory. Women would also stain their cheeks with red paint and use henna to color their hands and fingernails. The Egyptians believed their makeup had magical healing powers, and they weren't entirely wrong. Research has shown that the lead-based cosmetics worn along the Nile actually helped stave off eye infections. 8. Cats are sacred. It's true, cats were considered sacred animals in ancient Egypt. The Egyptians saw animals as incarnations of the gods and were one of the first civilizations to keep household pets. Egyptians were particularly fond of cats, which were associated with the goddess Batet, but they also had a reverence for hawks, ibises, dogs, lions, and baboons. Cats were thought to bring good luck, and they were so revered that when a cat died, the pharaohs had them mummified. 9. The 12-month calendar was invented in Egypt. You probably don't know this, but the calendar that we use today was invented by ancient Egyptians. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the first calendar known to humankind was invented in Egypt. The ancient Egyptians used the 12-month calendar like we do today. However, each month was always 30 days, which meant that their years were only 360 days in total, causing the years to fall out of sync with the seasons. So to make up for the lost time, they held a 5-day festival at the end of each year. 10. 95% of Egyptians live along the River Nile. Did you know that the longest river in the world is located in Egypt? The Nile River cuts through Egypt, and about 95% of the population of Egypt resides along the Nile River. With much of the country being occupied by desert, this fact about Egypt isn't all that surprising. 90% of Egypt is made up of desert, and the River Nile divides that desert. The Nile, which flows northward for 4,160 miles from east-central Africa to the Mediterranean, provided ancient Egypt with fertile soil and water for irrigation, as well as a means of transporting materials for building projects. Its vital waters enabled cities to sprout in the midst of a desert.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe, like and share. Don't forget to also hit the notification button so as not to miss out on our latest uploads. Feel free to check out more videos on our channel.